It's the segment that carved a legend, the one that turned speculation into myth and gave voice to bold predictions. We call it Answer the Question. And this time, it begins with a franchise at a crossroads and a quarterback whose legacy is already etched in Canton. The Pittsburgh Steelers, once a bastion of quarterback stability and competitive fire under the leadership of legends like Terry Bradshaw and Ben Roethlisberger, now find themselves adrift, desperately seeking clarity at the most critical position in professional sports. Enter Aaron Rodgers, a four-time MVP, Super Bowl champion, and future Hall of Famer, but also the very same quarterback who just last season was deemed expendable by the New York Jets. That paradox, the allure of greatness mixed with the undeniable signs of decline, sets the tone for one of the most intriguing potential moves in the NFL. Is Pittsburgh's interest in Rodgers a move rooted in championship ambition, or simply a symptom of organizational desperation? Shifting focus to the next generation, the debate surrounding Travis Hunter's positional destiny ignites similar passion. While his two-way talent has drawn national attention, the answer, when stripped of bias and examined through the lens of today's NFL, leans toward wide receiver. Cornerbacks are vital, yes, but elite receivers are redefining the architecture of offensive dominance. The league has evolved. The rules favor offense, and game-breaking wideouts now tilt the field with regularity. A player like Hunter, with his explosive skill set, could change the trajectory of a franchise from the perimeter. Then comes Shaduer Sanders, the name whispered in war rooms and debated on sports panels. The son of Dion, but more than just a legacy, he's a quarterback with poise, vision, and an analytical mind for the game. Which team should draft him? The answer, again, swings back Pittsburgh. Should the Steelers secure Rodgers, Shaduer becomes the ideal understudy, a chance to marinate in the NFL under a master, learn from one of the most cerebral quarterbacks in history, and eventually take over with a team built around a solid run game and improving offensive line. For a quarterback of Sanders' pedigree, that might be the ideal scenario, and he seems to know it. In a rare moment of draft honesty, Sanders admitted in a recent interview that he values fit over draft position, a maturity that's rare among prospects. Geography, he says, is destiny, and he's not wrong. The NFL's graveyard is littered with quarterbacks whose potential was smothered by dysfunction and chaos. Pittsburgh, with its Hall of Fame head coach Mike Tomlin, its strong ownership and a winning culture, offers a sanctuary. But Vegas also looms. With an offensive coordinator like Chip Kelly and the Brady connection in the background, plus mentorship from the legendary Michael Vick, Las Vegas could also be a strategic landing spot for Shaduer. Still, the Steelers feel like home. They offer infrastructure, leadership, and a patient approach to quarterback development that could give Sanders what so many young QBs never receive: time. Rodgers may not be a traditional mentor, but even his presence for a year or two could prove invaluable. And let's not forget, the Steelers have a strong receiver duo, and if they continue to invest in protection in the run game, they could build a cradle of stability around a young quarterback. But the conversation broadens when you consider the Raiders, Saints, or even the Seahawks. Some speculate that Seattle, under Pete Carroll, may not be inclined to invest a high pick in a developmental quarterback while still riding with Geno Smith. The Saints, meanwhile, remain in a more prolonged rebuild. The puzzle becomes even more intricate when factoring in draft position. The Raiders hold a premium pick, the Steelers pick in the 20s, and Sanders may indeed fall out of the top three, something once unthinkable. But as experts note, that might not be a bad thing. Sliding in the draft isn't always a fall. It can be a blessing in disguise. The best-run franchises don't always draft at the top. Mahomes went 10th, Lamar Jackson the 32nd pick. It's not about being the first taken. It's about being taken by the right team. For Shaduer, the narrative is shifting. Once projected as a surefire top three pick, whispers now suggest teams are uneasy. Some cite cockiness. But NFL scouts know that confidence is a prerequisite. The real concern appears to be physical tools, arm strength, and elite traits. But the tape doesn't lie. Sanders was the second most accurate quarterback in college football last year, and accuracy is still the currency of quarterbacking in the NFL. There's a defensive backs mentality to him, aggressive, unapologetic, unshaken. It's the Dion DNA. And while that might make some front offices uncomfortable, it also suggests a mental resilience that could serve him well. The key is landing with a franchise that values those traits rather than fears them. In the end, the answer is layered. Rodgers and the Steelers may need each other more than they realize. Travis Hunter may have a higher ceiling as a receiver in this pass-first league. And Shaduer Sanders? He doesn't need to go top 3. He needs to go where he can grow. And if Pittsburgh is smart, they won't just be a temporary home for Rodgers. They'll be the launch pad for the next great quarterback story.